Let's now shift our attention to what is happening in the United States of America, where the U.S. House of Representatives will be voting on some of the major bills that form the backbone of President Biden's Build Back Better agenda. This also includes a social spending plan, climate change bill, and a bipartisan infrastructure bill. So let's take a look as to what is on the agenda within the United States. The climate change bill promises an allocation of about $555 billion American dollars to fight climate change. It guarantees incentives and also credits for Americans who will opt for renewable and low-emission energy sources. This includes buying electric vehicles and also installation of solar panels. It also plans to cut greenhouse gas emissions by the year 2030. Now, two of the main areas that are covered under the social spending bill and child care and housing bill allocates about $400 billion American dollars for free and universal preschool. It plans to limit child care costs and also extend child tax credits. About $150 billion are set to be allocated to build 1 million housing units, and the plan guarantees help with rental and down payments. $1 trillion infrastructure plan, which has already been approved by the Senate, will be debated by the Democrats. The Democrats have missed previous self-imposed deadlines to vote on the legislation. The House Speaker Nancy Pelosi has said that she was very unhappy to have failed twice in recent weeks to pass the infrastructure bill. She said that she was very determined that both bills could, of course, move together pretty quickly. When Biden returned to the United States from Glasgow, the Republicans had won the election in Virginia and New Jersey. The Democrats are now desperate to avoid a repeat of this setback in the next year's midterm elections. The WION's Susan Tehrani has been tracking the story very closely for us and has sent us this report from New York.
House Democrats struggled on Thursday to line up the votes needed to push through with a $1.85 trillion social spending and climate bill, as more moderate and centrist lawmakers continued to raise concern about the price and details of the bill. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi hoped that both the social spending bill and the infrastructure bill will finally go through before the end of the week, something that has been stalled for months now and had been the cornerstone of Joe Biden's economic agenda and something that he ran on during his campaign trail some 10 months ago. However, lawmakers continue to haggle over issues related to immigration, as well as deduction on state and local taxes, among other issues. Susan Tehrani reporting from New York for WION. World is One.
All right, let's now shift our attention to what is happening in Israel, where the country's parliament, the Knesset, has now finally approved the government's two-year budget in a key victory for the newly formed coalition government. Now, the approval of the 2022 spending bill was crucial for the coalition because it now gives a certain semblance of stability, political stability for this alliance, where the Bennett government is, of course, at this point of time, trying to pull through a very difficult centrist coalition. The Prime Minister Bennett has tweeted saying that Israel was back on track after the full package was approved early on Friday. The Israeli government cleared its very first hurdle on Thursday when it passed the 2021 budget, and the passing of the budget was a crucial step to avert the government's collapse and also move the country towards some kind of political stability after several years of crises. The coalition led by Prime Minister Naftali Bennett, who had unseated the former Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu in June, needed to pass a budget by the 14th of November to avoid a fifth straight election. In a remarkable feat, the coalition suffered from no defections in its nearly 36 hours of continuous voting, despite being made up of right-wingers, centrists, leftists and also Arabs, controlling just 61 of the 120 seats in Israel's parliament. Before this, Israel had failed to pass a budget for the last 3 years. This, of course, was a symptom of the political gridlock that has plagued the country under Netanyahu's leadership. The now opposition leader, Benjamin Netanyahu, ended up voting for the government 6 times by mistake. He tweeted afterwards saying that it was possible for anyone who voted to get confused, that this was not in line with his plan to play spoiler for the government that ended his 12 years in reign. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.